Google just built the best model on Earth and buried it behind a paywall. That is not speculation. Gemini 2.5 Pro hit the top of the LM-SYS chatbot arena in June 2025, outperformed GPT-4o on multi-step reasoning, and posted the highest verified score on SWE-bench for real-world code generation. And yet the AI discourse is still arguing about Claude and ChatGPT like it is 2024. Why? Because Google does not want you to use Gemini freely. They want you to move into their house first. Let me explain. The villain here is not incompetence. Google DeepMind clearly has world-class researchers and infrastructure. The villain is the distribution strategy. Google appears to be running the oldest play in enterprise software. Build something undeniably good, let the benchmarks do the marketing, then make the only real path to access run straight through Google Cloud and AI Studio paid tiers. The free tier exists, sure. It is rate limited to 15 requests per minute on the latest checkpoint, with heavy throttling on the million token context window. That is a demo, not access. It is a taste designed to get you hooked before the invoice arrives. Here is the proof, and I have 3 points. Point 1. Inference economics. Running Gemini 2.5 Pro through the API costs roughly 3 to 5 times what a self-hosted Llama 3.1405B instance costs per million tokens if you have your own GPU cluster. Google controls the inference stack end-to-end, which means they set the price and you pay it. There is no open-weight Gemini 2.5 you can fine-tune on your own hardware. The weights stay in Mountain View. Compare that to Meta, which dropped full Llama 3.1 weights in mid-2024 and let the community run wild with quantized versions, LoRa adapters, and domain-specific fine-tunes. Google watched that happen and appears to have decided sharing was a mistake other companies make. Point 2. The context window trap. Gemini 2.5 Pro supports a 1 million token context window. That is genuinely impressive for retrieval-augmented generation workloads, where you want to stuff entire code bases or document libraries into a single prompt instead of maintaining a separate vector database. But here is the catch. That long context capability is computationally brutal. You are not running that on a rented A100. You need Google's proprietary TPU v5 infrastructure, which means the feature that makes Gemini most differentiated is also the feature that chains you hardest to Google Cloud. That is not a coincidence. In my analysis, it is architecture as lock-in. Point 3. Benchmark theater. Gemini 2.5 Pro leads on LM-SYS Arena, MMLU Pro, and SWE Bench verified. Those are real benchmarks, and the results appear legitimate. But Google has a pattern of releasing benchmark numbers during preview phases, then quietly adjusting rate limits, latency, and token pricing once general availability hits. We saw echoes of this with Gemini 1.5 Pro last year, where early testers reported different throughput than what was available at launch pricing. The benchmarks tell you what the model can do. They do not tell you what Google will let you do with it. If you have been listening this far and you recognize this pattern for what it is, subscribe. The people building on top of these models need someone saying this out loud, and we are not planning to stop. Now, the strongest counterargument is obvious. Someone will say Google offers a generous free tier, AI Studio is open to anyone with a Gmail account, and competition between closed providers still drives prices down. Fair, but a free tier with 15 requests per minute is a marketing funnel, not infrastructure. And competition between closed providers is not the same as open access. When Meta releases weights, thousands of researchers find failure modes, build safety tools, and create specialized variants within weeks. When Google keeps weights locked, one company controls the audit, the alignment, and the narrative. That is a fundamentally different power structure, and saying the API is cheap does not change it. So here is where we land. Google DeepMind appears to have built the most capable large language model commercially available in mid-2025. And they appear to be using that lead not to advance the field, but to deepen dependency on their cloud ecosystem. The benchmarks are real. The access is not. Every developer celebrating Gemini 2.5 Pro scores should be asking one question. What happens to your product when Google raises the price? Because they will. They always do. So tell me, is a model that tops every benchmark but never leaves Google's servers actually the best model, or is it just the best advertisement for Google Cloud?